In this video, I'm going to reveal to you the secrets of inexpensive flashlights. We're going to dive into a flashlight buying guide because when it comes to cost savings with flashlights, flashlights have dramatically improved over the years. The technology has changed. And so are all flashlights created equal? Should you go for the cheapest option? Well, the reality is the body makes a difference. The LED emitters and how it handles heat can also begin to degrade the quality of that flashlight over time. You go to grab for it in your kit when you need it in a survival situation, and it may work at first, but it gets worse and worse and really fast if it's a cheap quality. So you're looking for that nexus point between quality and cost. And we're going to talk about how do you find that in this video so that you can, when you purchase your next flashlight, make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck and getting a quality flashlight that's going to hold up, but you're not breaking the bank to do it. All of that is coming up. All right, so it is non-negotiable when it comes to preparedness. You're going to want to have a flashlight in your kit. There's a lot of options out there. In fact, it's one of the most saturated options when it comes to this on Amazon. You can get a ton of different options and especially low-priced flashlights, right? And so we're going to reveal the secrets in this video. What does it look like to look for that quality flashlight but not break the bank in doing it? And so we're talking low-priced flashlights. What makes them low-priced? What do you need to look for in that quality flashlight? So as always, in this video or in this channel, we look at the Reddit threads because we want to cut through all the information. We have so much information out there, so many gurus, so many different hacks, but what actually is going to work? And so in the Reddit threads on this one, the question was, why pay for expensive flashlights? And so we did a trend assessment through this thread and some others. And what we found was that rose to the surface is that there are some important features and materials that are agreed upon for looking for flashlights. And advanced emitters would be one of them, beam quality and efficiency, and then the body build. And so some of these we need to look at more closely. And we're going to look at in this video advanced emitters, the power supply, and how does that relate to the heat. And then the beam quality, of course, is pretty important. You see that down the middle of the list and the bottom. The titanium really has to do with the body of the flashlight. That's something we're going to get into as well. And so when it comes to looking for a great flashlight, you need to look for a budget consideration, but also how that's going to impact quality. And so many people are budget conscious as their primary goal when it comes to prepping. They want to save as much money as possible, but it's crucial to understand how cost affects quality, flashlight quality, and performance. That's what we're going to look at, and we're going to look at each of these different aspects as we move forward. So let's look at some of these aspects now, and we'll start with the body of the flashlight. And so when it comes to the body of the flashlight, high quality flashlights, they use durable materials like tough anodized finishes, aerospace grade aluminum. You'll see this on the box or on the flashlight itself. While cheaper ones, they use inferior materials. So obviously, you look at the screen. Which one is the cheap one? The one on the left, right? This is off of Temu. The one on the right, this is a high quality. You can even just tell by looking at it that the body of the flashlight is higher quality. Also, you're looking for something that's going to be decently water resistant. Quality flashlights, they meet the IPX8 waterproof standard that allows immersion in water. And cheaper models, they only resist a little bit of splashing, right? So you're going to want to make sure that something that you buy doesn't immediately just wick out, turn off with just a little bit of water. So that's one aspect. Let's talk about the next one. That would be the emitters of the flashlight. So when it comes to having a good quality flashlight, the emitters are very important. This is the core component that produces the light in a flashlight. And so it's crucial for both for brightness and then also for just efficiency of the flashlight working. You can see in this shot, the emitters right there at the front, that's that little yellow square. That's what creates the light in an LED flashlight. And so there's been a lot of technological advancements in the last few years, and there's modern what are called Cree emitters that are more efficient, they're brighter than the older models, and they're often used in cheaper flashlights. But you also need to look at regulation, efficiency, and advanced emitters. They offer better regulations. That's where you're going to get in these quality flashlights, and that's going to provide a consistent light output versus cheaper flashlights are going to degrade over time, and especially they're going to have a longer battery life. They're going to be more efficient use with that kind of LED emitter. So that's something to look for in your quality flashlights. Okay, so from there, let's talk about the next category, which would be heat dispersion. Okay, so when you're looking for a quality flashlight, cheap ones have heat issues. So all LED flashlights, they generate heat, and especially on high settings, right? That's just normal, but that can affect the performance and lifespan. And so quality heat management that happens in a higher quality flashlight. And high-end ones are going to include fins. They're going to include automatic step downs to manage the heat, but the cheaper models don't have those aspects. So that's another key component to look for. And so when it comes to making sure that you're on point for these, you're going to make sure that you choose brand and brand quality, or build and brand quality. And so that touches on overall construction. You're going to want to have reliable construction and durability and the functionality, which is often lacking in cheaper flashlights, right? You want switch quality. So high quality flashlights, they have reliable switches, whereas cheaper ones, they may suffer from faulty switches. Nothing like having the switch go out, right? So you're going to make sure that you have one that has a quality switch. And there's brand reputation. So established brands, they're going to invest in research. They want to keep their brand up. So it might actually be worth looking at something that's got a consistent high rating as a brand and development that results in better quality products, because they want to keep their brand on point. So build and brand quality is for sure important. Let's talk about beam quality though, because when it comes to looking for a great flashlight, you're going to want to make sure that the beam quality produces a smooth and consistent beam. And cheaper ones, they're going to have an uneven beam. They're going to have these like little rings. So you look there on the screen, and I'll just take my video off again, and you may not be able to read all of the names of these different flashlights that were tested here, but you see a lot of different qualities of beams. So we're going to dig into these briefly here. So let's talk about this. So when it comes to beam quality, you can actually see a lot of different for the price category, which we're defining price as cheap as anything under $50, mid-range $50 to $100, and then expensive anything over $100. There is, for the cheap, you can actually sometimes get some decently, like here's an example of one that's pretty good quality, but for the most part, the expensive price is going to correlate to a higher quality beam, which is pretty important. Now you can look down the list and you can see some where there's actually, hey, there's a decent for cheap. You see the through night on the first one. Here's the Energizer LED Pro. That's also got a decent beam quality for the price that you're going to get. So that's what you're aiming for, is something that is going to be decent quality price and also get you a pretty good beam quality at the same time, right? Those things can actually overlap. So I wanted to give you a rundown though on some of the different considerations that you're going to look for when you're looking for a flashlight, and talk about the cheap ones. And I'm going to run through just a lot of aspects here, but I think this will be really helpful. So when it comes to material quality, the cheap flashlights, they use inferior materials and they're less durable. Quality flashlights, they use tough anodized finishes, right? Water resistant. They only offer splash resistant in the cheaper ones. And then the quality flashlights, they're going to meet the IPX8 standard, and they can be submerged in quality. So look for the water resistance as a factor. The LED emitter, we already talked about that. They use older, less efficient emitters in the cheaper ones, and they're just going to be higher quality and last longer in the more expensive ones. The technological advancements of a higher quality flashlight, they're going to use the latest advancements and have better performance. You're going to notice it in the performance. Regulation and efficiency, the higher quality flashlights are well regulated, and they're going to maintain consistent brightness. You'll just notice it in over time, the brightness of it. Heat dispersion. You're going to feel the heat coming through the body of the flashlight in a cheap one, poor heat management, and it can become really hot to handle, which then once you begin to feel that, it's like, oh man, we need to either turn it off or just realize you're going to have a shorter lifespan on that flashlight. Beam quality, as we talked about, it's going to be uneven with the cheap flashlight, especially over time, and you need a smooth and consistent one on a higher quality flashlight. The overall construction, inferior construction is prone to mechanical failures in the cheap ones. A few more. So the switch quality is faulty switches in a cheap one. Brand reputation, lesser known brands just don't care. They're going to cut corners. Voltage range. So a cheap one is going to have limited voltage range and fewer battery options. Output regulation. The cheap one's going to lack regulation and brightness. And you can see on down this list, so there's fewer modes in a cheaper flashlight. Water resistant is often not in place in a cheaper flashlight. You're going to get an uneven beam quality. Lower voltage acceptance. We'll speed through some of these last ones. A lack of output regulation. A long-term cost and reliability issues. So as you would expect, the quality flashlights are just going to have a longer lifespan. They're going to be more cost-effective. And then finally, this last one we put on here is brand considerations. You're going to want to make sure that you consider a high-quality brand in what you're looking for in a flashlight. So I think that helps you begin to dial into what kind of flashlight should I get when it comes to making the decision. And this is where I want to just kind of give you a landing place. That's a lot of information. What you're going to want to think through when you're looking for a flashlight is balancing cheap and quality. And so you're going to weigh the benefits of specifically durability